Hey folks, welcome back to Apocalyptic Guitars. Yes, we are at the final steps of this build, believe it or not. Yeah, I know it seemed quick on YouTube's here, but this has been a long process, folks. It took roughly 70 hours off cam and on cam together to do this build so far. So, we're not done yet though. So let's get started, shall we? Yes. Alright, folks, so what we got here is we have the finish all done. Ooh, smooth. It's got a semi-gloss sheen to it, which is what I wanted to begin with. We do have the tuning pegs on there, and the custom scratch plate, or not scratch plate, scratch plate, yeah, truss rod cover plate that has the A logo on it that is going to be featured on future guitars too. I really didn't want to put it on here, the whole apocalyptic logo on here, because that's just too nice to cover up, so I put it on the scratch plate instead. What we're going to do today actually is we're going to file down the nut. And this is a Graphtec nut, which is really good stuff. And we need to file it so it fits flush on the sides here. And sometimes nuts come a little wider than it needs to be, so we just have to file it down. And yeah, basically, that's it. I marked a couple lines here of where we need to file on each side. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't know. Let's get started on that. Yes. Alright folks, so we got the nut in the vise right here. Nuts and vices. That hurts. That really hurts. Anyway, we're going to go grab a file, and we're going to start filing this down. Now, there's several types of files you can use. You got the flat file here, which is more of a finer thing. Or you got the triangular, which has a little more of a rougher file to it, cut. And then you got the rough cut. I like to start with the rough cuts first, just to get down to where I need to be. Whoops. I didn't tighten that down enough. Hold on. Hang on, folks. We're getting there. And just file it down. File it down to where it needs to be. Get it down to the line as much as you possibly can. And yeah, this is a pain in the ass. I think that side's actually good. So what we're gonna do, as you can see, we filed it down just to the line. And that's basically what we want. And now for the other side. And you want to put stuff like this as far down as you possibly can for stability. If it's stuck all the way up here, it's going to wobble back and forth. There's going to be absolutely no stability in it whatsoever. So here we go. Filing away. This side's a bit long, so it's going to take a little bit longer to do, but we're almost there. Ooh, the smell of burning whatever material this is made out of. It's not your common plastic, though. It's not like the plasticky nuts that you typically get with cheaper guitars on the market. So now that we've got it file, then I'm just going to check it really quick. Yeah, and we're golden. So the next part is to sand it down. Now I like to use, let's see, I'm actually going to use some 3000 on it. 3000 grit is plenty for this application here. So 3000 grit, wet dry, and we're just going to cut a little bit off here. It's always in best practice to cut sandpaper and not tear it, by the way. So basically sandpaper, right? And then we just la-di-da it. And we can actually close this off. That's a good thing about this vise, is that it acts as a little table for you. This flat surface right here, it's great. So you just kind of fla-di-da-di-da-di-da until you get a nice smooth surface. And it shines. First off, we're going to actually, where is that sandpaper at? Actually, I'm going to use this. I think this is, how much is this? Figures, it's all cut off, but it is a finer sandpaper, and we're gonna get rid of all the scratch marks on it, which is good there, and we're good there. This has got to be around 400 or so, and then what we can do now is polish it up with the 3000, because we took off all the scratch marks from the file. Oh, it's nice and smooth. There we go. So that side is nice and shiny and smooth. And we just do this side. Oh yeah. And that side is all shiny and smooth. So now what we got to do is get rid of the hard edges on the sides. So basically, what we do for that is we can take that same 400 grit sandpaper that we have, lay it down like this, and just kind of go whoop, 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 like that, and it'll take off the hard edges. Because you really don't want hard edges to be, you know, stuck on your hand when you're trying to play the lower notes and stuff, because it's a pain in the arse. And just take down this corner right here. Leave no hard edges. And there we go. Then we can come back with the 1000 and just polish those edges out. Just polish them out. And there we go. There we go. We have a nice polished nut. So now what we can do is we can fit the nut. Here we go. So basically, we have our nut that goes right in there like so, and it is flush with what we need. So there we go. We're gonna glue that in now. Alright folks, we're back here and we're gonna apply some glue here. So we really just want a little bit on the wood side and a little bit on the top. There we go. That's all you really need. and then just kind of bloop, and there you go. And then you fit this SOB, make sure it's flush, just like that, and hold it there for about 10 seconds, should do. 10 seconds. And there you go. You have a nut. We have our nut on our guitar here. Alright. So that concludes that part. Now we need to put in the grounding wire for the bridge and install the bridge. So let's get to that, shall we? Yes. Alright, folks. For grounding the wire, we need to take out our bridge. And these are individual saddles. And this takes a little different approach to grounding wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab some ground. Typically the ground is the black wire. That's at least how I use the color code for wiring such a thing. So we take black wire, black ground, and we need our okay, where are you? Here you are. Wire stripper and cutter, important. So we want to fill this whole mother effer. So let's see where we want to be. We want to be around about right here. About right there is where we want. And then we just take it off by section like this. Like that. It should pull off. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Just take off a little bit at a time. See, like that. And little pieces will fly all over the place, but that's okay. That's wiring for you. So with long wires like this, you just want to take it a little bit at a time, and there we go. So now what we can do is we can feed this through here, through the ground. And of course I have my back plate on. So let's take off the back plate here. I didn't screw it down, thankfully. There we go. And you always want to make sure there's nothing underneath the guitar when you're laying it down, because you don't want to scratch it all up. Luckily there's just a cloth under there for me. And I just like using a cloth. It's fine. So we want to feed it through down there. And then leave it. And we want to make sure that all of the pieces are going to fit. See, we know now that that's a little too long, so we just need to cut it right about there. There we go. Bring it down just a little bit more. And there we have it. So now what we can do is we can start screwing in. I got so much shit on my bench right now. time to tidy up just for a second. So what we can do now is start clamping down on this. And we actually need our bigger here we go. We got our bigger bit on there. So all we gotta do is just start clamping down on it. Just like so. And then you don't want to clamp it all the way. You don't want to screw it all the way down yet, because you want to be able to make sure the other side is also in place before you do so. So I'm just going to clamp down on this. Screw it in. And then once it's all set and clamped down, you can start really clamping it down. Don't go too tight. Because the last thing you want to do on a bridge is snap off a screw head. That is not fun, folks. Not fun at all. There we go. Now I'm probably going to time lapse this part because it's quite tedious with these kind of saddles. So here we go, time lapse. Alright folks, that was a nice, nasty, tedious process. There are individual saddles, as I mentioned and as you saw, so that means that there's a lot more screws to do, and God, my hand hurts from screwing down all those friggin' screws. But the bridge is in now. It's all screwed down. Now what you want to do now is to come over here and make sure that the ground is snug. And it is. It's not going anywhere. So the ground is all set. And basically what we want to do is, hold on. We're going to want to blow out all the schnug that got trapped in there from either sanding or whatever. So it's all in there. We got the back plate. We've got our pickup surrounds. And I'm actually excited to use these. I just gotta figure out which one's which. This is the lower one. And we basically want to fit it just to give us an idea. There we go. That's just roughly the idea. I do have pickups coming on their way, So we'll get to that part. Most likely in the next video we'll get to that part. I do have, where are you? But yeah, just to give you guys an idea, we've got our gold and black knobs right here. Oh, that's gonna look freaking pretty. I have black pickups. They're standard humbuckers with black poles, so it's gonna be just all black. It's just gonna look so good. And yeah, we have a gold three-way switch and a gold barrel jack. Now, what we can also do now, if I can find where they are. All right, I found them. What we can do now is actually put our strut buttons on, and we're going to use the gold. I'm not going to use this white felt shit. What I'm instead going to do is use leather. I'm going to use a strip of leather for it. Basically what we do for this part is we take our leather, take the felt itself like this, and then just sort of trace it. Just sort of trace it. Doesn't really have to be perfect, but we have the general idea, and then we cut like so. And there we go. And from here, what we can do is we can sort of clean it up a little bit, get rid of all the stupid edges here, like that. And we have felt. And what we can do after that is do the same thing, only now we have a template to work off of. So all we do is just cut around it like so. Leather can be sometimes a pain in the ass to cut, so, but we got it. We got some leather. So now all we gotta really do is put some holes through it. Now, we can do that with a drill, with a small drill bit. All we need is a small drill bit. Like so. And we just drill in. Make sure you're as center as you possibly can be. And there you go. We have holes. And again, we can clean this the felts off. We can kind of see how it's kind of wonky. We can fix that just by cutting a little bit off of each end here. I made them slightly bigger than I wanted, so that's why we're just gonna like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. They're just felts. And then you kind of want to screw them in, because they're going to be a little tight, and you want them tight the first time because you don't want them to, you know, you don't want the button itself to go through it. So you just want to tighten them in, and you can use a screwdriver for this if you choose to do so. Just like that. Screw them in. That way they're nice and tight in there. And voila. So now I could do this. Start it in there, and then we'll do the same for the other one. Where the hell did the other one go? There you are. Okay, and then do the same for the other. And I'm actually going to take out the hook here, since we don't need it anymore. Take out the hook. See, that's the hook I'm talking about. That's good for hanging your work, for finishing and stuff like that. So alright, so what we want to do is just screw this in, same as before. Same as before. There we go. And then we'll start this one. Whoops, I bumped the camera. I'm sorry, folks. Start that one. Alright, so now what we can do, we can put these aside for right now. Like that. And then make sure the scissors are out of the way. And we can start screwing it in. It gets a little tight in here, folks. You know, I'm actually going to move the camera, so here we go. There we go. So basically, we just start screwing it in, just like this. There we have it. I'm not using those felts. And then do the same thing for here. You might not be able to see this, folks, because I'm slightly off camera, but it's the only way that I can screw this in. Sadly. And there we have it. We have our strap buttons in now. So let's take a look. We have one strap button. We have the other strap button. And all these things together, I mean, this is going to look fantastic, folks. I am very excited. Just to give you an idea, I am very excited about this. It looks great. And there we go. So that's it for this video. It went on way too long. Longer than I wanted. But progress, folks. That's what it is. It's all progress. Next video, what we're going to do is we're going to shield the back cavities. And we're going to actually do the pickup mounting on the pickup surrounds and fit those. And we're going to do all the hardware, and yeah. And that's it. That's it for the build, actually. So in the next video, keep a lookout, because we're almost done with this thing. Yes, and it's going to be fun. So Be on the lookout for the next one. Probably in a few days it'll come out. That's when I'll get the pickups in and we can do all this stuff. So, yeah, this is Nate, Apocalyptic Guitars. Have a good one.